Yet fears always present risk for me. I'm constantly debating whether I am making the right decision or not. I feel like just throwing everything away is childish, especially now that things have been slowly improving. I told her I can't truly pattern her, but I understand why she felt the way she did. What happened is just a symptom of the state of the relationship, and I will admit that it could have been me in her position when things got dark for me. Where I draw the line? Am I being idealistic? Is this a pattern that will repeat itself once we find ourselves within our comfort zone and into the valley of our relationship cycle? Pretty Tate. It's hard to believe that it's been this long already. After reviewing my original post, I can see that a lot of things are clear and defined now, but there is still a lot that hasn't really changed since then. Back then, shortly after everything happened, I took a vacation week and went back to see my parents and sisters. I told them about the situation, and naturally, they were all disappointed. Fortunately, though, they were very adamant about respecting any decision I considered the best. After debating it a lot, I concluded that the least we could do is to try to grow out of the circumstances as a couple and see how we felt about it. This, unsurprisingly, was a very idealistic plan. Things just were not that simple. Shortly after my time away, we had to move out of our apartment to a new one for unrelated reasons. And this was scheduled to happen from before the situation happened. Packing up was just a painful experience. Should we put our things in separate boxes? Or are we going to be practical about it now and figure out what happens later? We moved into the new apartment and the relationship seemingly froze in time for a couple of months. There were unpacked boxes sitting idle, framed posters that were never hung. It was impossible to set up our new apartment without knowing exactly if it was going to be our place or not. It was interesting how our relationship accurately mirrored how we felt inside. For me, personally, it was helping me get through the days, just not having to worry about moving forward in that regard. By then, I was very emotionally tired, and I took that chance to pretend like everything was stable for a while. Eventually, we had to move on, get out of the limbo we made. My determination to make things better for us was quickly challenged whenever I saw ourselves as a new marriage. What I originally thought was leftover anger that would eventually go away. Eventually, the feelings only solidified and took shape into what I could describe as a demon within me. For example, she would go out with some female friends of hers. Everything was normal until I sent a message to check in with her. And after just 20 minutes of waiting, those negative feelings would grow into a lot of anxiety, anger, and depression. As much as I wanted, I couldn't do anything else. This state replaced every thought in my mind. This experience was so strongly negative. I only had to leave it twice before deciding for good that this plan was not going to work. I sat her down and explained this and took steps to break down everything she could do to alleviate my anxiety and regain my trust. These conditions, in my perspective, were very reasonable. I was expecting her to message me whenever she arrived or left work, and if she had any plans for the night. The other condition was just to pay attention to her cell phone and calls or messages since she had a habit of forgetting about it for hours at a time. She wasn't thrilled about this, even after I made it clear it was temporary and that she needed to regain my trust. I understand why, for some reason, these conditions could be unacceptable, but if she couldn't do this for me, I felt like we were not both trying equally. This is what I needed to know to move the limbo forward in the opposite direction. Sadly, but for the best, we took the decision to end the relationship. She started looking for an apartment to move to shortly after. She eventually confessed that she was still in contact with her old boss. I feel we took the right decision. Last night, she took the last of her things and moved out. We're on good terms. I can't see a friendship between us right now, obviously, but I hope we can reach that point sometime in the future. She gave me her apartment keys, and that was it. I truly wish her the best. I hope she can find the happiness she's looking for. My plan now is just to have fun and enjoy my solitude. There are so many games I want to play and new things I want to learn. Part of me is still scared, but I know it's only about giving it some time. Things will all feel normal eventually, and I'm glad I'll be there to experience it all over again.